Mean by God Gene. Woo! Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, but we right back like a snatch back. We right back like baby fat. Here we are. It's the college football greatest fictitious show in the world, Craig, in the world, baby. And what we got today for you guys, something special. We're going to recap the end of season 6. We got the playoffs going into the finals. We got the coach that did the most. He took his team. He went from Miami, his journey. He started with Miami. He ended up at Penn State, and now he's the champions. He's the national champions. He's the reigning, defending, undisputed champions of the world, Craig, of the world, baby. It is the greatest thing in the world. It is the Gridiron. I'm the Midnight Rider. That's the Coach Mac. We're going to give you some entertainment for the next 30 minutes, baby. I hope you got your seatbelts buckled. I hope you got your kids strapped in the car seats. I hope you got the oven off. You know what I'm saying? We don't need nothing to be flammable at this point in time because we're about to bring you the hottest show in the world right now. And I'm going to say it again because we always do it. Whenever we say in the world, we got to say in the world, Craig. In the world, Craig. And that's what this is. So before I even get started into my own things that I do, Coach Matt, I want to welcome you. I don't know if this is the second or the third time I've had you, but welcome to the show. How you feeling, baby? Got you on mute, baby. You on mute.
I'm good. This is probably like the third time that I've been on this show.
All right, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you coming over. But the best thing about this is I'm talking to you as a national champion, not just as a regular man today. And that's the biggest part of this show, baby. You know what I'm saying? The smile is big, baby. I see it, and I saw it on. Like you can't see a smile online, but I saw it when the game was over.
Yes, sir.
And you did some things, and I'm gonna tell you right now, as a coach, when I watched your journey, I was proud because I can see the changes in you making things happen in the way. Because to be honest with you, let me see. Hold on. Does Kev have it in the thing? Because you might not have supposed to have been here. You weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. You weren't supposed to make it happen because your journey started early and you struggled out the gates.
Sure did. Man, well,
go ahead.
It was a rough beginning, man. Being that I'm a Giants fan, it was similar in the same way that we had our Super Bowl runs back in 2007 and 2012. The rough start, then the big games just started coming in, and I could see that the defense was always gelling. Defense was there. Right. It's just the offense that needed to gel, I about a year ago we got rid of our offensive coordinator, and we've had this different offensive coordinator, and he came in and he finally installed something successful in our offense. It just took a while for the players to get to it, and that's what happened.
And that's the beauty of the way this game plays because it was realistic because you switched coordinators, you struggled to find your footing. I know early on in the season, I watched a couple games and I forgot what your quarterback's name is, but he's a versatile dude. So him and your running back number 21 were my two guys early on in the season.
Yeah. Cutling, I think my quarterback's name is. He's a scrambling type quarterback.
Yes.
And in the beginning, in his freshman season, I kind of struggled with his arm a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I thought, he could throw the pickle deep, which eventually, he had to get around to it and stuff. But I finally, figured a way to utilize him to be more effective and stuff, and that's to give him some wheels and everything, But along with that, my wide receiver, number 81, he finally came alive and stuff and started doing his thing, finding ways to get open and stuff like that, because it was always my tight end who was always the safety valve, to find a way to get open and stuff and take hits down the field in the middle of the field, I took a chance this year, man, because I have that running back, and he's a freshman. And what I liked about him, what I saw in him when I was practicing, was he always found a way to slide between the line
Mm-hmm.
and very elusive to get himself some yards. And I said, you know what? I might switch it up this year. He was like a 74 overall coming out the gate, you know. So that helped out a lot, especially with the offensive line I had, which we can move dump trucks with that offensive line, you know. So
So
yeah,
so you
all that.
started out. You had what? I think you started with KG at the beginning of the season.
Kate, no, actually, I started with Miami. I
Okay.
started against Miami and I won that game. You know, then I think we went to South Bend.
Okay.
And that was our first L right there. I'm not gonna lie. Kevin came and we tried to match the score and we couldn't do it. KG had me on lock on that game, which was pretty good, and everything. He's got a very high talented speed offense, along with
Yes.
those
Yes.
trios of running back and fullback mix. Shout out to him, you know. Yeah, I lost that game and I can't remember my second game on my third game, but I believe I won that one. But when I came into Maryland
Mm-hmm.
against Brian's squad, Brian showed me a different version of him, and I caught an L on that one. Definitely caught an L on that one. And that's cool. Brian, laid out the map work and stuff, and like I said, around that time, my team was not gelling. So yeah,
Let's
we
let's
caught it.
let's talk about that real quick because Brian,
Yeah,
as a person looking in, there's two coaches that when I watch their offense, I'm enamored because I think I would do this, but I'm not good enough, and that's why I don't play right now. But like Brian and Jimmy have these offenses that they hit you on different layers. They know how to move people. They know how to set things up and get things open. And what I noticed from you this year, personally, as a difference was you had a playmaker at QB, you had a playback maker at running back, and your defense was solid. So when I watched you play, like I could tell you were on something different, but you just had to get there.
yeah.
Like you were one of those teams. Like if we were doing, um, what's Stephen A's show, um, whatever it
First
is,
take,
first
I think.
take. If we were
Yeah,
doing first take, like your school would have been one of those teams that we just said, oh, if they find a way to get in the tournament, they're gonna be dangerous.
yeah, yeah,
Because I saw the changes subtly as you went along. Your running back was good, your quarterback was good, your defense was solid, and I told the guys before we even got to the playoff system, I was like, yo, if we can get 5 users into the playoffs, we're gonna be good and it's gonna be interesting
uh-huh.
because the users, like I like the matchups. And the only thing I didn't like was Brian and Jimmy had their third matchup.
Yeah,
I would have loved to see them play somebody else. But then I saw you match up with I think you matched up with UCLA and then you matched up with Miami.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I felt like you matching up with Miami is a great story. Like if we were in like the ESPN realm, like the world would have been like, okay, Coach Rowe left Miami after putting them on the map, and now he's coming back with his other team. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This is a story. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a story of a team where a coach left, went somewhere else, and now they're battling to get into the finals of the playoffs.
Man, brother, let me explain. The thing is, let's just say like you're 18 years old,
Right,
and your parents say, all right, son, we're gonna get you a car, you
right.
know, and you're like, oh wow, geez, you get that car, and it's like, okay, this is my starter car, you know. So then you grow up a little bit. Let's say 4 years down the road, you got a job. You know what I mean? You're
Mm-hmm.
hustling out there, and you say, I'm ready for my dream car. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to leave that other car behind, and it's no disrespect to Miami because I still got love for them, but Penn State was the dream job. You know, so once I got that okay to take over the reins at Penn State, because that's kind of where I wanted to be anyway.
All right.
I jumped on the plane and I couldn't look back.
You did Kevin Willard.
Yeah, yeah. I had to, man. I had to,
Nah, because you threw me off because I thought personally, I thought you were a Miami fan when you started in
Yeah,
year one. And I was like, all right, he's not leaving Miami. And then when I saw the move to Penn State, I was like, it took me a little bit off, but now that you describe it that way, I get it now.
yeah.
You know,
Um,
like being at Miami was a thing, but the dream. And like,
you know, I,
go ahead.
I in my real life, I have I have three major teams that I really like. I've always liked in real life on college football, and Penn State was one.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Notre Dame, and then there's Syracuse. Penn State. My dad is a Penn State fan, and that kind of rubbed off on me, you know. But it was all about Joe Paterno, LeVar Arrington, you know, names that I could go on for a while. You know what I mean? These guys that played in NFL, you know what I mean? And it's just like that always instilled in me, you know. And I've always had a thing for linebackers, you know what I mean? Even when I'm playing Madden, Notre Dame. Man, Lou Holtz, um, what was this? I think it was Ricky Irvins,
It's Ricky
Ricky,
Waters. I know
yeah,
you're talking
Ricky
about.
Waters,
Yep.
and Jerome Bettis. You know what I'm saying? I used
Yep.
to watch those three back in 1993, 94 sometime, and they were running the ball and stuff, man. That was magical. And with Syracuse, man, my favorite Syracuse quarterback of all time. Oh, geez, number 5, McNabb.
Yes.
Donovan McNabb, he put Syracuse on the map, and from there on, I always, focused on those three teams. Where Miami came from this year, I was in a different league because this was my second league I was in.
Okay.
Um, that first league I was in kind of like fell through because everybody stopped playing and stuff. But I was Penn State already, so I wanted to try a different league, a different team. And I looked at the stats and everything. I said, you know what? I kind of like what Miami has, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to run with that. And I like Cam Ward. I like what Cam Ward did, this season, So I decided to go with Miami, and that's how that happened.
So let's take a step out of the fictitious college football world and go into the real NFL world.
Okay.
Cam Ward, do you see him as because I think he's either one or two in
Yeah.
terms of picks. I had a conversation with the great late Pete Medhurst, and he told me if he has to play a game tomorrow, the only quarterback he's taking is Cam Ward. And that's high praise from a guy that is so dialed into the college football world.
Yeah.
So when somebody like that says that, I jumped on it, and I ended up having Cam Ward over Shador for myself in the rankings of my quarterbacks. At first, I was a Shador guy, but when he said it, it made it because of his prominence and because I respect his opinion. I looked at Cam Ward differently.
Yeah.
So and then here's a person also of interest for me is your back that you had year one, Mr. Martinez. I think Martinez, if I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan or if I was somebody that was interested in the Cowboys, I would take Martinez to be one of my backs because they don't have a thumper. They don't have nobody that's going to make it physical. And I like that in that situation. But let's come back to where we are existing in the fictitious college football world. So let's talk about some of the things that happened in the semifinals. One of the semifinal matchups was Notre Dame versus Oregon.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful to watch these teams play because we know that these guys have played for the last 10, 15 years. So it's what the guy's going to do. Now you got to stop it. It's almost like you here it is. What you going to do? What you going to do?
Coming. And there's no, yeah, there's no fakes or pulls on it. If Jimmy's gonna run up that middle, you see it coming. It's all about how are you gonna stop it. Yeah.
yeah. And then the beautiful thing for me with Jimmy is I love he always has fast linebackers
Mm-hmm.
and he has fast corners,
Oh
and his
yeah.
corners can catch. So when it comes to that scenario, when I see Notre Dame on the other side, you got great backs, you got a great return man. His quarterback is athletic and he's good. And then when I watch their defense matches up well in man. They struggle in zone sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can get certain things in this matchup. And when I watch the game play out, I just think Jimmy, I think if I remember correctly, Jimmy got out early and then it was just curtains from there. Because
Well,
once Jimmy gets a lead,
it was like this. The first play of the game,
uh-huh.
Kevin ran a kickoff
Cut back.
return
Yes.
right up the middle, you know, and that's what sparked it. Now the thing was Kevin was keeping up. They were going blow for blow,
Right.
but the thing about Jimmy is the speed kills.
Yes, sir.
Speed kills, and like you said, he's got fast corners. He's got fast wide receivers. He's got fast running backs. And at any point in time, those guys can break it. You know, fast linebackers. And what used to kill Jimmy with me was I always used to do those play actions and stuff, and then Jimmy would catch me on the side with his fast linebackers and stuff, and I couldn't get away. So I narrowed down the play action, but we're gonna get into Jimmy and KG's game. You know, KG tried to go blow for blow with him,
Right.
and then he started making mistakes.
Yep.
That them fast linebackers started eating his quarterback up on the side. I seen, I think KG went for it on fourth down and 8
Yep.
and didn't convert. You know, it's stuff like that you got to be very specific with Jimmy because he's going to catch you. He's going to punish you for it. You know,
And
yeah,
no, I was gonna say, and what I noticed from the game is momentum is a real thing.
shift. Yeah,
So when
yeah,
that shift happens, some guys can come back. But if it doesn't work, it's you're in trouble, dog.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like when I think Jimmy played Brian. No, I'm sorry. Your game when y'all get to the finals. So I'll get to that in a
Mhm.
second.
Yeah.
But let's get to you against Miami. You going back to Coral Gables, place where you grace the sidelines, you know what I'm saying, fictitiously. And you had to make it do what it do. You muted yourself. You're on mute. You're on
Uh,
mute. There you go.
let me start with the regular season game because that was a stepping stone in the right direction for us when we finally started getting right. You know, I came back to Miami. Um, I had my mind set because, like, I think I was going like 2-2 at the time, and I had this game was a make or break. You know, and
Right.
I made it. You know, but the part that kind of hurt was the UCLA game. You know, but
Yes. I'm glad you
uh,
brought that up.
yes, man. Look, I think that game hurt me the worst in the season because after I won in Miami, going to UCLA, I thought that we were going to start on the right foot and have a head of steam, and UCLA just came and it was a back and forth game, and then like finally they started coming and killing me in the second half, and I was so upset with that. I had a small chance, a little small chance to take the game, and we didn't do it. You know, so that game hurt worse than any game. Um, because that was my third loss. And
Right.
I think, in this game of EA, if you amount to three losses in the beginning of the season, you ain't gonna have a chance
Right.
to make it. When it gets to the playoff and all that stuff, you ain't gonna have a chance. So I was upset. But We didn't die. We didn't die there, you know. Um, I won all the rest of my games after that, you know.
Yep, you
That
got on
that
the roll.
yeah, yeah. It started out with Ohio Buckeyes, and you know that was a big game there. Ohio Buckeyes, we took them out. Uh, Went to Darnell's old team, Michigan. We took them out. You know, the roadmap started getting a lot better and stuff after that. You know, now I didn't think that I didn't think we had a chance, but the thing that settled everything was I think the thing Michigan took the Buckeyes. That's what settled everything for us
And then
because
that's how you got into the playoff system.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
everybody, I remember the message was on the board was like you snuck your way in.
yep.
And sometimes it's good to, I mean, no Diddy, but you can sneak in the back door and leave out the front. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know about sneaking out the back door, but kicking that damn back door down is a
Right.
lot more better for us.
Yeah, exactly. So you got in. I saw the UCLA game. I think you beat them
Oh,
like 35-10 or something like that. Like you took care of business in that ball game.
bro,
Um,
but with my name being Angry Giant, man, I played with so much steam and anger with that game. I was not gonna let this is round two. You know,
right,
I had a
right.
second chance, and I was like, I'm gonna murder this team. You know, I don't
And then,
care if it was the computer or a user. I had bullseye on them, you know. So I wanted to brutalize that team, and I did, you know.
and then we get Penn State, Miami, and I felt like in another situation you decided to brutalize the team. You decided to take them out at all costs.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it
Well,
didn't matter.
it was like
Um,
this, man. You know, the second time around, you know, when the first time you play a team and you see what cards they throw out on the deck, you were like, okay, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. You know, I noticed something in the first game that I played Miami that their quarterback is not totally up to par. You know, he's a superstar, but I noticed some wrinkles in his game, and I was able to exploit that. And plus, I also realized that their offensive line ain't no match for my defensive line. My
right.
man Smoker, who just came, man, he had the best season that I can possibly ask for. You know, Smoker came in and dominated the line, and that's all it took. You know, from Miami. You know, I pretty much laid down the gate on them, and I knew exactly how to handle them. You know.
So then let's get to the final. Um,
Okay.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get the audio added in because you had a couple comments after the game where you were talking to Jimmy and everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but when I watched the ball game, you got out early, if memory serves me correctly,
Oh yeah.
and he had to play. Jimmy had to play catch up, but
Oh yeah. And
because
see,
you were up so much early that it just wasn't one of those things that he could make up for. But I
yeah,
noticed the switch because when I watch you, I always notice number 21 in the backfield, but
yeah.
I saw number 34. So tell me about that switch and like what made you make that switch? Because
Okay. So when I watched the Jimmy and KG game, Notre Dame versus the Ducks, I seen how KG was utilizing some of his backs and his fullbacks up the middle, and he was having some success. So I was like, okay, I have an elusive back, and I pretty much know that Jimmy's going to key in on him. You know, he's pretty elusive, but I believe he wasn't big enough to make an impact. And I noticed in the some of the playoff games that I started having some steam and some success with my guy Anger, you know, number
yeah,
34. Uh, he would every time he would make contact, he would either truck or he would land forward whenever
right.
he fall, and that's more yardage that he picked up. So I was like, you know what? Well, and let me throw down this too. He's 6'2", 240 something pounds too. You know what I
Oh, he's a
mean?
low, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he's definitely gonna knock some heads back. Although his speed's not impressive, but that doesn't matter. You know, so I that was one switch. That was one of the aspects of the game that I wanted to switch up because you know I knew Jimmy knew that I wanted Jimmy to think that I was coming with a different running back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that made a difference. You know, I think I sprung up 155 yards rushing with him. You know, that was one thing. Uh, to change up the aspect of my running game. Um, Another thing was I watched how KG's defense was set up against Jimmy, and I was like, I can't do that. I had to put all my defensive line on the on as my strength. So I played a 4-3, knowing that Jimmy was going to come out. See, Jimmy's like me. He's going to test you first and second downs and stuff with the run,
Right.
and then his speed receivers are going to make up for it. So what I wanted to do was unsettle him on those first and second downs with the run, and just when it come down to third, I had him in a lot of third and sevens and stuff, third and eights, and then I'd have contest him with my defensive backs, you know, and everything. But yeah, as long as I can stop Jimmy, because his big plays are right up the middle. You know what I mean? He always had big plays
It's,
that.
it's up the middle, or he's going down the sidelines with the speed receivers.
Yeah, yeah,
It's and then he creates space with his motion. He'll motion the guy, and then it'll create an opening on the backside wherever the motion comes from.
yeah,
Um, like I
yeah.
love the way his offense moves because that's kind of how I would move my offense. But with
Uh-huh.
you, like the shift I noticed was you became, and I could be wrong, but in the playoffs, I noticed you being very aggressive early and getting your offense. You scored early often in a lot of your
Yeah,
ball games, and you made teams chase you.
yeah, yeah. That was a part of my offensive prowess, getting the ball downfield a lot better.
Yes.
You know, creating big plays early, and then springing up with the run game and stuff when in the mix of that also. You know, see, I could not do that exactly with Jimmy.
Right.
I had to be settled with the run game because he's got such good fast cornerbacks that if I start throwing and stuff to my wide receiver or something like that, as you notice, I chose the middle of the field
Yes, sir.
instead of the corners. You can't do that. You know, Jimmy will make you pay. You know, the Oregon Ducks, they're notorious for speed and elusiveness, and their whole game is just based off of
Speed.
what you do. Yeah, speed. That's it.
I mean, he's got the fastest linebacker set I've seen on this game when I
Yeah,
watch out play. His linebackers get to the quarterback. He finds a way to make holes happen. I think the only other person I saw was B. He played B, or yeah, they played each other, and it was like this crazy 4th down and 9. And I don't know what B did with his D line, but the way he spread his defensive line, he opened up the middle for his linebacker, and the
yeah,
linebacker shot it, and like it stopped Jimmy from getting the conversion.
yeah,
So I say all of that to say that like you guys are very skilled at making things happen, whether
yeah,
it's your defense, your offense. I'm impressed. Um, when I watch y'all, I just sit back sometimes and like at 2 a.m., I'll just throw y'all games on because I can't sleep. And I'll try to figure it out or see what happens. And I'm amazed because uh I was very impressed with you in this playoff run because I felt like you were a different team. Like I thought you were a slug it out team early on in
I
your first
tried to
couple of
be.
years. You tried to bully everybody. And then
Yeah,
I think this year you gave your offense a little bit more life on the outside. And that's why you had the success you have. And that's why we're sitting here having this conversation of
yeah,
you as national champions, not you as the runner up, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Man, also I got to note that I was if I was gonna go blow to blow with Jimmy, I was not gonna have no chance.
Right.
You know, uh, as you can see, Jimmy started creeping up behind and everything, and he started shutting my little stuff down. He started, taking notes on what I was doing. You
Yes, sir.
know, and I was like, okay, the best thing I could do. I started stretching the ball out, from time and everything, trying to kill that clock, you know.
Yeah,
But man, yeah, in the beginning, I always tried to play that bully ball, and both on offense and defense, I try to beat you up. Now that did remain the same with my defense. You know what I mean? Because boy, I had some sick pass rushers this year.
yeah. No, you
You know,
did. You did. No, no,
yeah,
no doubt about it. But it just always like for me because I watch it from the background and I see everybody's style.
yeah,
And then it's like, all right, so he does this,
oh
and
yeah,
then when you watch the matchups, like I will buy a ticket if you give me Jimmy against Brian any day of the week. I'll buy a ticket to that. I'll sit in the front row at the 50-yard line because they're always going to have this classic battle.
yeah, oh
Like
yeah,
it's beautiful the way they play the game, and then they always I don't know, it always unfolds the same, but the result is different. And I'm maybe waxing too much about it, but it's like I love it. When I watch you and like KG because y'all like to run the ball,
yeah,
like it's a battle of wills.
mm-hmm,
Dario and you, same thing. Uh, it's just I think the beauty of when I watch the league as a fan, I get to see teams and their dynamics and their identities.
yeah,
And if you ever watch the Sideline Junkies, when I talk about regular sports, not the fictitious ones, I always talk about the Commanders having to get an identity, and that's what I love about you guys is you guys understand your identity, what you're going to do, what you're going to try to do. You're
yeah,
going to get your running back. You're going to get you a fast one. You're going to get you a thumper, and then you're going to get you a guy that got speed, but he's still going to make you feel it.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why I
I,
love 21.
it's like this because just being on this game stretches more further. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go back to Madden days and stuff. Brian, I've never had nobody who passes who knows how to pass the
Yes.
ball like him. I always call Brian the cerebral assassin when it comes to the passing game. I
Yes.
have to, and that's the only way. The only way I can counter that is if I got some good pass rushes. Because if I don't have that, Brian's going to eat me up alive. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
um, Jimmy is a finesse type guy. You know,
Yep.
he's finesse. Whatever he's got going, whatever players he's got, he's gonna make sure that they're the type of fast, elusive guys that oh my god, and then he can build up points on you with them guys too.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah, KG, I haven't had too much history with KG up until this point. You know, um,
KG he's classic, but he's got a mix. He's a mix of every now and then he wants to be finesse, but he want to be a dog. Like
yeah,
he'll come out with that the wishbone and hit you with the fullback a lot early.
oh yeah,
And then he goes from the fullback to the tight end, and then he'll go from the fullback tight end to his outside. So
yeah,
it's like a step with him. Um, already said Brian.
yeah.
Dario Dario is like we run game first.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Like we're gonna run it down your throat until you stop it. And then when you stop it, we got enough outside that we're gonna make you pay the second you show us that you want to stop the run game.
Yeah, yeah. I could kind of see where he was coming from with his style. That was the first
Yeah.
time that I've ever played him. I can kind of see, and boy, that he's
And
got
I
that
noticed that.
Alabama
Like
strength.
that's the one thing I noticed when you played him. It was like y'all. It was like a boxing match. You know how like you feel yourself out in the first couple of rounds,
Yeah,
and then
you
all
throw
of a
that
sudden you
jab.
get comfortable.
Yeah, you throw that jab, and you see where he's coming, where his power shots is, where his weakness is,
Yep,
and then you fake him out with that, and then you go for it. You
for sure,
know.
man.
Me, the best way to describe my type of offense, defensive prowess is I'm straight smash mouth. You
I was
know,
gonna say you attack no matter what the situation is.
yeah,
Um, like we not balleting, we not doing anything. It's gonna be gritty. It's gonna be in the trenches, and then
Yeah.
you figure the rest out for yourself. You
Hmm.
find where you comfortable at, but you gonna attack from the beginning, and
Yeah.
that's why like I love when I watch this because I get the perspective of being a fan as opposed to having to play you guys. Um, and I see all the different personalities and it's amazing when I see you guys play because um like when you talk in the chat, I can hear your style of play and your talk.
Yeah.
Your voice like hey blah, blah, blah. Like you like DMX, you like you know.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a lot of emotion because I feel the way I play. You know what I mean?
Nah,
Um,
dog, yeah. And then
when
that's
when
why I was messing with you because I was like, yo, Darnell would have said, yo, you pick this time when I'm out of the league to
to
win
get
the
good,
championship.
yeah. And that's something he would. I know he would say. You know,
Yeah, man.
man. I
But
hope he comes back next year because man, let me tell you, if anybody taught me anything, it's Darnell because like I'm gonna go back to the old Madden days and stuff, man. When I
okay,
first jumped in the league and everything, Darnell just kept thumping my head every single game. I just could not stand playing this guy because I was the Giants and he was the Redskins, and it'd be a thumping, and he because he's got such good sportsmanship. You know what I mean? He'd be like, "Hey man, I know you're gonna catch me next time." I'd be like, "Man, yeah, right. I ain't never gonna catch this guy." You know.
right,
And then it finally happened because for me, I take notes and stuff after I lost. After a loss, I start remembering how this happened and stuff. And then now that we have streaming and everything, you can go back to your game and start seeing where you messed up at. You
right.
know, and I started picking up on formations. What down is it and stuff? What is he gonna do on this? All the analytics and stuff like that.
Right.
And I started attacking him with it because even though I was not as aggressive with the style that he was doing, I wanted that same style, you know?
Right.
So it came to a point where I started beating Darnell, and then Darnell was still, every time we play, it'd be a close game, you know?
Nah, I
And
know that. I noticed that in the beginning.
yeah, yeah,
Like the funny part for me is again, I'm a newbie. I'm watching y'all, and then I see these natural rivalries already in place
oh
because y'all
yeah,
played so long beforehand.
oh yeah, it's there. Me and Brian have a rivalry too, you
Yeah,
know. Brian in the Madden sense used to always use Buffalo, and he thumped me good one time. He threw for 600 yards passing.
good
You know what
God.
I mean? And I could not stand that, man. And I was like, you know what? Next time he comes here, I'm gonna staple his head to the TV, and everything. And that was just one of the things, just like Jimmy. When Jimmy played me and stuff, man, Jimmy was Pittsburgh, and Jimmy knew exactly how to handle me too and stuff. But I played these guys, numerous times, and then I started learning. Uh, like I studied this game before I played Jimmy this time. I
The
studied it.
funny part about it is you guys emulate football.
Oh yeah,
Like if you don't get what I'm about to say, I'm gonna say it, and hopefully the people outside of us understand what I'm saying. Is like in every league there are rivals that are naturally like there's a team. So take it like if you're an old school NFC East fan like you are, you know that Washington struggled with the Giants.
yeah.
The Giants struggle with the Eagles.
Hmm.
And the Eagles struggle with the Cowboys. Like it's this whole circle of life that
Yeah.
happens within a group. And the thing I always tell KG and B is like when I watch y'all play, like y'all play out a real series of a league because whether it's you playing Jimmy, whether it's B playing Jimmy, whatever, I know what the game I'm expecting. I know what I'm getting.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like I ain't got to worry about it. I don't need to have no premonitions. I don't need to have anything else. I know for the fact when I see the two names on the ledger, I know how the ball game gonna play out.
And see, the beauty of this is that there's no powerful guy. You know what I
Right,
mean? Although Jimmy is the cyborg. I'm not gonna lie.
I think
Jimmy is the cyborg.
he's a two-time champion.
Yeah, yeah. And you would think that coming into yesterday's game, well, I know I was the underdog. I knew it 100%. You know what I mean? But
But you got out early, dog.
yeah,
That lead you
that's
got
what you
out,
got
and
to
then there
do.
was a fourth down in the beginning that you stopped. I think you stopped him on the fourth down, and I think that was the momentum shift.
Yeah.
And then he came back and had a shift to like get back in the game, but you had made so much space because I think there was a run with number 34 up the middle. I can't remember the exact situation, but when I saw him make the play, I think I even texted you like, "Who's 34?" Because I'd never seen you use 34.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's when I was like, "All right, this is different."
Yeah. Yeah. Had to come that different. But also Jimmy, there was some turnovers and stuff that
Yep,
helped me out too. Jimmy had that long run with his quarterback,
yep,
and then he gave up that ball and stuff. Gabe turned it over to me. I think twice in the first half, I had two interceptions on Jimmy. You know what I
right.
mean? So there was some turnovers he made and everything because he was trying to push that ball down the field a little bit too much because I was suffocating his run game. You know, but yeah, I noticed and I took notes on it, and I said, you know what? If I can run the ball up the middle on Jimmy with this power back, it's going to create some problems, and it did. His guys are based on speed, which is good, but I know you saw it. I kind of trucked some of his guys as
Yeah, I
well
saw
too.
that. Yeah. Yeah, it was a couple runs. There was a couple short yardage runs that you picked up yards, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to hold
yeah.
you too much longer. So, do you? And this is off the top of your head, and I know if you don't have it available, I understand. Um, in your recruiting, do you have somebody coming in that we should look out for?
Um, my top recruit has been a wide receiver. I
Okay,
think his last name is Hooks, and that's the best that I had at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because I think due to the overshadowing of Maryland and Notre Dame. You know what I mean? They got there. There's a lot of people, a lot of players that want to go there now and stuff.
okay.
So maybe I'm hoping that my reflection of being a national champion has changed that now. But that's the best guy I got coming out right now, and I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine with that. Oh, and let me add one more thing.
Go
The
ahead.
very important thing in that run. Um, and I don't no disrespect to Dario, but what opened my eye to use the number 34 was that last play I had on Dario. Now let me explain something.
Go ahead. You got room?
I really was trying to run the clock out, and I ran one play, and I said, all right, that's game. Dario hit timeout with 1 second left. I was like, why'd he do that? I said, he must want to
Right.
try to, so I said, okay. All right. So I put it on. I had extra guys on the line, and I saw that shift. I don't know why, but Dario had put himself up there on a kickoff formation. Like he had all the guys online. And I was like, this ain't gonna be right. So I called hype, and number 34 ran to the outside, and man, he gave a stiff arm of a lifetime to one of them guys, man.
Yes,
He was
sir.
gone. That's what opened my eyes. I said, you know what? This guy is I might be able to shake a little monkey with him. You know what I mean? So
I
that's
got
that's
you.
another reason. Yeah.
All right, bro, man. Damn, we went 45 minutes. I wasn't even expecting us to go this far. Um, but thank you for blessing us, giving us the opportunity even to have this conversation.
No
Congratulations
doubt.
on your national championship. When
Thank
I
you.
end this, give me 5 minutes on the other side so we can talk post show.
Okay.
But this is the Sideline Junkies Network. This is the Gridiron. It is the greatest fictitious show in the world, Craig. In the
In the
world,
world
Craig.
credit.
And as we do that, we'll see you next time. And don't forget to hug the ones that you love. We out.